Show us your tips. We're off to the Bool, Beaver. How you travelling, mate?
Pretty good, mates. Can't complain. Good week. Sun's out, and yeah, the Bool. What a great few days, mate. Love the jumps races down the Bool at this time of year, and what a great carnival.
Yeah, fantastic. A few winners yesterday for anyone checking out progretracing.com.au. There was a few winners across the board there. A couple at a nice price, a couple plonks. So we keep kicking on today. Yeah, as you said, the premier jumps racing carnival in the country. I love watching it. Is a bucket list item, so we'll see how we go getting there at some point. But we kick off with a heavy track as is standard, and a bit of rain around at Warnambool as we head into day 2 of the carnival. I think we want to be getting to the middle of the track by now. If not now, definitely later in the day. There'll be fanning coming from all angles. So, yeah, hopefully most you want to be able to handle the conditions and get through the ground. And generally the locals go pretty well here. In the first, we've got a 1,200 metre maiden. Is it for the babies? What do I do here? For the 2-year-olds.
Yep.
What do you like here?
Yeah, look, pretty hard to get a gauge on some of these couple of unraced ones that are sort of the favoured two in the market. I'm going for one of the first starters. I'm going for the Daggy Susterine. I think he can run well. Here, like the breeding, and got it on top in a pretty open first up affair.
Beautiful. I found I've got Loose on Gin on top here. I didn't mind the debut. From the Matt Williams yard, he'll have set it for here. Hit the line pretty well, chasing Tumbling, who came to Sydney and ran okay a few weeks back there. And now second up around, it was $5 last night, now about $4.50. I think is a great way to start the day here. From Debating, who just got lost on debut over at Morpheville, and hit the line well once it got in the right leg there, but gets Nash now, who's like a big shining star in this meeting to me, but I maybe had to fight against finding him too much here, but that's why I'm going to start 2 from 1 in the first. 1,400 metre maiden is up next. I'm sticking with Dean Yendall. I like the trials of Sierra de Grados here. Both were really nice, hit the line really well. And then I've gone and found Dean Yendall at the Bool just for good measure. On top and fairly keen, it actually runs quite well here. The only horse I'm really going to spend much time talking about. What are you thinking?
I'm with you, mate. Beaver's won the same as Dagster here, and I think you're right. I think first up here, again, trials are being good and gets the right Yendall price combination to run really well, watch the market, and seems to be a bit of money around with it for it already. So on top for me as well.
The third is a 1,700 metre maiden. What have you got?
Yeah, tough race this when they these maidens that start to get over a bit of ground. I'm going for a little bit of value in Untamed Spirit from the Hayes stable. Thought it's been fairly consistent in its last 2 starts, a second and a third, not far off the winner. Should handle the distance, and I expect that it can run well.
Yeah, I agree. It does run well here. They found Mickey D. It's been honest pretty much every start. On top, though, I'm treating it as a main danger. I've got the SA Visitor on top here. Fortis in Arms. Probably should have bolted in last time over the border there. It just got held up. Now gets even enough run here with Eaton on board. Hopefully can flow in this race out wide. I think it runs well, and money's come for it this morning, which I like to see down at Warnambool. So 2 from 6 for me in the third. The fourth is the benchmark 120 steeplechase, where I'm going to spec. What have I done here? I'm going to let you talk about it first because I think I've just lost my notes and my runner. You go.
No worries, mate. I've got Roland Garros on top. Been tuned up for this with a couple of runs over 1,600 metres, interestingly, at Albury and Corowa, and ran really nicely in those, only a few lengths off the winner. I think it's obviously been set for this, runs well in these races, and on top pick for me.
Beautiful. I've lost count 0, which is why I was a bit confused there. Yeah. So I'm with you in that one. That was second pick, so we'll go with Roland Garros for me as well. 1,700 metre maiden comes up next for the fifth. I'm gonna have to go with you here as well because I have no idea in this race. Have you got any clarity?
I haven't got a lot of idea either here, but I've gone for Shearman Dyer from the Mar Eustace stable. Had the 4 runs in this time in. Progressively got better with a third at Geelong last start. Look, that was an interesting race because it was all those up in the weight races. So carried 69 and ran okay, obviously down to 59 here, and weighted okay, but ran a close-up length behind was Mayo to start prior to that. So not too bad form. I just think maybe the right combination with the Mar Eustace, Alan can run well.
Excellent. The 6 is one of the features, the Galleywood Hurdle, over 3,200 metres. And I'm going to stick with the champ here, the favourite, Saunter Boy. Was only just nabbed late in the shadows at Pakenham, going around there by Blandford Lass. I think this will be its goal. Pateman Stick's going to get a roll along out close enough to the speed and hopefully can go back to back again around the even money mark. Yeah, probably fair enough for it. What do you think?
Yeah, look, it's same. Unlucky to probably get beaten there. Meets Blandford Lad considerably better at the weights in this, which is a good line, and clear on top here. Saunter Boy, I think it will be winning.
And I've just seen the field for the 7th, 1,000-metre benchmark 70. We've lost all but 3 now, so I'm left with Field of Flutes on top. I'm not saying much. It's $1.70 a 3-horse field. I'll probably watch on there. A bit disappointed because I had an opinion of some of those runners, but I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, Mar Eustace have got the 2 in the market here, but Field of Flutes looks super hard to beat. Only lightly raced, and last run was reasonable and pretty good prior to that. Probably $1.70 is not a bad price in this 3-horse field.
Especially
really when you look at it.
Well, Linda Meach isn't going to mess around. She'll go straight to the front, and that'll probably be it. The other feature is the listed Wangoom Handicap over 1,200 metres. What do you like here?
Yeah, I'm going for Chief Altony. Really like the price too. You're getting almost double figure odds for this. And look, last in work was super impressive. Raced in listed company in Sydney. Ran really good in races in Mini Valley and Caulfield. Resumes here fresh. Never won first up, but has ran well 3 out of the 4 starts, but loves the sting out of the ground. 5 starts on the heavy, 2 wins, 3 placings. By this time, drawn sort of middle outside of the track, it can get posse up and come with a barnstorming run, I reckon. So I think it can run well. Obviously think the favourite 2 in the market, Outlaws Revenge, is going well. It should run well, ultra consistent. Taunting bounce back last start. It'll go on pace. So a lot will depend there. And one just down in the market, Keep Safe, in keeper, $40. Certainly don't leave it out of your exotics. It can run well, but I've got Chief Altony on top.
I'm left with Frankie on top. I have an issue with this horse, but I keep backing it. It was good last start. Probably would have wanted it drawn a bit wider. Get through the wet well. It's going to be absolutely flashing home here around $10 mark, and handles the conditions. So on top for me, I've lost Nemeth, who I was quite keen on, but I think it's sticking to Wagga. So keep an eye out over the Wagga Carnival there. And the other one you mentioned, Champion Outley, now gets raised as well in my rankings there. But Frankie on top, and I think runs really well here. Very good pickup with Innkeeper. Hard to go wrong with Meach and Simon Wild down at the Bool. The 9th is a benchmark 64, back to the 1,700 metres, where I've lost a couple again in my tips here, but I've got Outback Jack on top. I think the trials have been pretty good for this. Comes to its home track. Bo Mertens jumps on board and is around a $10 mark with an outside gate by now, thinking it runs well. I was just gravitated to down the bottom there, Reservoir Dog for the Buston Young team. Now second up, I think runs well as well. What were you thinking?
Roof. I'm going to Reservoir Dog as well. I think he can run really well. Like the first up placing, and I think now it sets up so it can win. Only won 1 of 12, which is a bit of a concern for me. But most of these have got similar records of only having won a race or 2. But on top for me, again, don't mind the draw at 14. I'm thinking that this will sort of suit, as we said later in the day. Seems to like the sting out of the ground, and I think it can run really well. Nice
Beauty.
setup.
Cool. And we'll wrap up with a 1400 metre benchmark 70, where I'm going to spec a couple here in a tricky finish. The first is Rekindled Express. I was just gravitated to the outside gate for Nash and the Busted and Young team there. And Smart Lissum, around $15 on a go forward horse in the last under Linda Meach. Can run forward, handles the conditions okay, and can give you a nice sight both at a price. I think they'll be coming home from all over the track in the last, so just going to spec a couple. Pontedera next best. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it looks the case that they could be coming from everywhere here. I got it down to 2. I see you coming on top.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot to like about last start win at Hamilton. Looked very good to me there, and I think the sting out of the ground certainly helps. Lindsay Smith in the last there. Main Danger launch pad resuming. Goes great guns first up. Hasn't missed a place in its 4 starts, and good record with Yandel on board, and loves the soft going as well. So I think it can run really well. So both of those, I'll spec those in the last.
Fantastic. Have you got a best and value for us for progretracing.com.au? I've lost both of mine, so give me a sec and you can tell us yours.
Yeah, my value bet is race 8, number 9, Chief Altony. I think it's going to give us a big sight. And my best is race 6, number 1, Saunter Boy.
I'm going to make race 8, number 1, Frankie Pinot in the Wangoom, my value. And my best...
Maybe back up both our values.
There's a Quinella there, exactly. Race 2, number 7, Sierra de Grados, best now. We head up to Canterbury on a soft 7, beautiful day in Sydney, so I think we get an improving track as we go on. Rail in the true standard Canterbury. You want to see them be able to make ground, I guess, before we get too involved with back markers. We kick off there a 1,200 metre 2-year-old fillies maiden. Nice full field. I'm not sure if there's a whole lot of talent in here, to be brutally honest, but who do you like at Canterbury in the first?
Not sure there's a whole lot of talent on the card, to be honest.
No, that's true.
Starting off in the first, going to go for the resuming Makina from the Waller McDonald combination here. Only had the 1 start, and that was in a decent race down at Flemington. Didn't show a lot, but they put it straight out, so it obviously needed that hit out. Tried okay, showed enough. Therefore, I think it can run well in this.
I was thinking the same way. There's 2 main chances. That's one of them. J-Mac going on. You've covered that off well. And the Waterhouse runner, as the market suggests, Zia was a nice sort as a yearling, actually. But inside gate, Brett Preble had a trial where it was pushed out and won quite well, then a quiet one. I'm assuming it doesn't waste gate 1. I think they're the 2 main chances to start the day because there's not a lot else here, as I said. I don't know if there's a lot else in this next one. The 2-year-old maiden for the boys. Some very expensive horses here, and I've got a feeling most of them are legless, to be honest, watching the trials. I don't have too much opinion out of any of these on the trials. We've got a $3 million colt here in Kadinsky. The ending going for it's probably found the right race to start in. So I'm left with the one it has raced, and that's Vomo Island. I think it goes straight to the front. Probably should have won on debut. Great trial since. Comes here, leads, and we're getting about $2.50. I think it is the bet of the day, Vomo Island, for me. Taking on some of these big checks. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought Vomo Island looked the pick of the bunch to me as well. So I had it clear on top, resuming here, right gate, can posse up where it needs to. And yeah, after its first up run, I think that's the case. And also its trials. On top for me.
Cool. 1250 metre 3-year-old maiden comes up next. A lot of these are now well exposed. Is there anything you want to back?
Yeah, given they are well exposed, I am going for I Am Jade. Just gets J-Mac here. Thought its second last start behind Ship Shape was pretty good. It's a fair horse, and second prior to that at Kembla wasn't bad. Being consistent, which looks better than most of these, and probably jumps and controls this, and J-Mac can get it home. most of the others have done absolutely diddly squat.
Yeah, it's definitely a chance, but bleh, with it and Himalayasm. So I just went for the first start. I prefer the Wink. I thought trials have been good, including against Warning, who's a group horse, and obviously didn't do a great deal on the weekend, but is better than 3-year-old Philly's grade. Comes here, you get an each way price. I think can take up a spot, and just had to find the fresh blood. Yeah, I Am Jade probably leads, probably wins, but leave me out of backing it anymore. 1900 metre benchmark 72 comes up next. We've got Domingo coming back here from the Derby. I don't know why. I assume it might be having a tick over to go to Queensland. So I was a bit confused by it and decided to take it on. So I've ended up finding Storm King. That was a nice win at Kenzo last time out. Was strong. Now comes to Canterbury, gets control. Ben Brisbane's one of yours. Knows how to get one of these stayers up and going. And I think the only two dangers are Domingo, as I said, might just be a better horse, or Sprout Wings, but I do not like Kathy from gate one. Probably going to be 3 or 4 back the fence and in a bit of trouble there. So, yeah, clearly on top Storm King for me. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I just flipped them the other way. I did go Sprout Wings. You're right. I was a bit concerned by the setup and potentially it getting a run, but I just thought pretty good on the heavy going last start. Flushed home nicely over the 1600. Should be further improved by that. And I just thought at the price presented some okay value there. But you're right, Storm King should run well, but up now to 62, 60. Weight does stop trains, but it does go, all its form has been on soft and heavy going, and a couple of lengths behind MacTube, and then beat Naval College, which wasn't a bad run as you stated, but certainly one to watch, but I just went a bit better value.
Cool. The fifth, 1250 metre benchmark 72. What do you like?
Not a lot, but I've got number 3, Famous Bridrill on top. Just been really consistent of late. A length off Travest and a couple of lengths off Kabling. That's all right form for this. So it's been sort of racing in this 72 benchmark company and running well. If it gets the right run here, can figure.
Going to spec a couple at an each way price. The first is Tenderize. I've liked the trials. Has some decent metro form through the last few starts behind Estadio, Mistella and Danish Prince on a Saturday. Debuting here should take up a position. I think gives you a nice side around $8. And stick to your guns. I've liked both its trials. It was safe from the weekend here. Inside gate now, $7.50. I like that as well. I will have a tiny peanut on Burning Need. Fresh too. I've just had a bit of a gut full of the rest of these. So that's the way I'll play. 1550 benchmark 72. A race where I, again, don't really know. I could potentially have something on So United. Just had to sit outside lead on a Saturday last time. McLucas goes on. I assume we'll go straight to the front here. If the track's playing that way, maybe worth looking at. And Speed Legends going okay, but I just don't particularly like this race. Do you have any firmer thoughts?
Same as you, mate. I didn't like it at all. I landed on Tradition only because of the Cummings blue colours. Last prep, it ran 5th behind Kovlika up in Brisbane in a Group 3 over 2100. Kovlika showed it's a fair horse on the weekend, and then had 2 sort of softish trials, and then didn't run too bad at Kambla, carrying 59.5. Plugged home okay over the 1400, which wasn't suitable in the heavy going. So it gets out now to 1550. I think sort of slowly on the way up. Might even be being prepared here for Brizzy as well. So I thought that was probably the best pointer.
Cool. And we wrap up the day with, pardon me, an 1100 metre benchmark 72. A tricky way to finish, particularly if most of the pace drawn out wide. I'm sort of going to cover a couple here. I think Lancaster Bomber is going quite well. The gate's a bit of a concern, but I assume we'll try and cross this field and drag a couple across with it. So Good, So Cool, who's going okay. And Sports Legend off the nice win. Oh, it's been scratched, disregard. Maybe something on Impulse Control pushing up with McLucas as well. But tricky race. I was a little bit scared as to where first of all, where Varvia gets to. Second of all, if it's actually got any ability, given it's only won a maiden. Tricky way to finish. What do you think?
Yeah, but most of these haven't won too many as well.
Yeah.
So it's again another one of those races that's really hard to line up. I thought Conrad could run pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it could sort of jump out and get on the pace and posse up quite nicely there. Gets the 3 kilo claim. It's third up now. Comes back a little bit in class for this, and its form in and around these types of races previously ran second in the first up in a benchmark, 78 behind Hypothetical. That's not a bad form line for something like this. It's just a little bit inconsistent, but if it puts its best foot forward, back in August last year ran second, only just nabbed by Capo Strata as well. So jumping on the pace, inconsistent, looks ready to run well, but Cap Conrad for me.
Beauty. I'm going to make at Canterbury for progretracing.com.au my best race 2, number 13, Vomo Island, and my value race 3, number 3, Prefer the Wink.
Yeah, I'm going to make race 3, number 6, I Am Jade, as my best, and race 6, number 8, Tradition, as my value.
Excellent. What's happening in Queensland? Looks like there's a couple of decent bets on a big card.
Yeah, I think there is a few decent bets on a big card here. Going to get off in the first, race 1, number 4, Warriors Angel. Short, but I think can give us some money to have a bet on a few things a little bit later. I do like race 4, number 3, Burnt by Bernie. Some nice little value there. Moving on later in the day, I think race 6, number 10, Deep Clean. I think it can run well. And then sort of finishing off the day, I'm pretty keen on race 10, number 7, Loves Me Like a Rock from the Lee stable.
Excellent. Thank you, Beaver. Good job. I will see you Thursday night or Friday morning. We're going to look at the Sunshine Coast this week with the Queensland Carnival kicking off, as well as some racing from Melbourne. I'll talk to you then, Beaver. And good luck this afternoon, guys. We'll talk to everyone then, I suppose. Have a good day at the Bool. See you guys.
That's it.